So really want to focus on looking at the lines in his hand because of what's unusual about the lines in the hand. So just really have a focus on that. Claire, I'm hoping that you will be able to give us something on this one. So
They're very faint. Is
um,
that part of just having water skin texture as well?
no, no, not really. But you're right. Well, when you say they, what you're saying is very faint?
Well, like that earth line, for instance, it's barely there.
Yeah,
It's just a wisp.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what's
Hardly
remarkable.
any. Yeah. And a whirl. Look at
That's why forget the world. I mean, it's interesting, but let's look at the Earth line.
that.
I've
Oh.
never seen an Earth line like this. Claire, have you ever seen an Earth line like that?
As extreme as that, I've seen nearly, but not like that. No.
That's an almost to me that's a not almost non-existent Earth line.
Yeah.
Effectively, you got a bit there and a bit here.
Is it a little bit above that on the right? Faint?
Above what that? You can draw on it if you want to, Rachel. Probably be easier than trying to explain it.
Yeah, no, I think what you're seeing is the airline,
Yeah, that's the airline.
Yeah, I can see that.
but the Earth line is just kind of absent.
Okay, so what's this about?
That little bit. Is
Yeah,
that part of it?
maybe, but yeah, you're right, Rachel. It is, but I mean, it's almost
Very faint.
indistinguishable from the from the skin ridges. But you're right. That's where you if it were to be anywhere where
Yeah.
it should be there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you're really saying by that is it should be like that and it isn't. So you're
It's
right. It should be
ghost.
like that, but it isn't. So
Mm.
effectively, it's kind of
Ghosty.
yeah,
Ghosting.
it's ghosted. Yeah. Come on, let's have some thoughts about what this might signify. You know, you're on the spot, you're in a fair, someone says, "Oh, what does this mean? I don't seem to have a lifeline. What does that mean?" Oh no, don't worry about that. Let's just talk about this really interesting whirl in the water quadrant instead. No,
Uh,
don't do that.
On
Stick to the
both
topic.
hands.
Yeah, stick to the
yeah.
topic. Client wants to know what does it mean?
She's just going to feel deeply, deeply ungrounded, unsupported, like terrified, like almost like she's sort of floating with no sense of anchoring or anything like that.
Mm, good thoughts. Yeah, yeah. Terrified, no anchoring, no groundedness. Yeah.
Her fingers stiff as well.
Morgan?
I checked her thumbs, but not her fingers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking that the only way she can stay in control is just to have those massively stiff thumbs because she's just going to be utterly overwhelmed and terrified. Yeah. Oh God, I can't imagine.
Yeah. Anyone else got any thoughts on this?
She
I
must
mean,
struggle with
you're not,
how.
we're not going to have any experience of this because this is not a line formation that one gets experience of. So, don't worry if you've never seen an earth line like this. Neither would I until I saw this handprint. So, go, Ursula.
Wow.
No, I suspect that she have health challenges and lack of resilience and very weak immune system, and yeah, just
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
internal
absolutely
stress.
that's the starting place, Ursula. Correct. Um, Morgan, maybe you can speak to that, but yeah, there's a delicate what you noticed, Ellen, is you said the line's really wispy. If the line is really wispy, it shows delicacy in the physical health. But this isn't a
Yeah.
really wispy line. This is a non-existent line. So where's and Claire was talking about the groundedness and stability in the person, but that comes from having a healthy body and being grounded in the physical body. This is not somebody who's grounded in their physical body, and there will be physical delicacies and ill health as a result of that. So where's her vitality?
Yeah, it's almost like you can say like it's like an umbilical cord that they just never got connected to, just got cut off of all those nutrients.
Okay, maybe
She was born 2 months premature.
you go.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Ellen. Absolutely spot on. Well done. Your intuition, I mean, you didn't know that fact, but you described it exactly the right kind of way, which is there's something in her was unable to assimilate nutrients, and that's what she's missing. The earth line is how we assimilate the element earth into our body and make our body, and the way we do that is through food. What's the health, Morgan? What's the health implications of being born 2 months prem from a digestive and intestinal point of view, and food and nutrition point of view?
Yeah, clearly great difficulty with assimilation, absorption, embodiment. Yeah, could be even necrosis of the intestinal lining and infections that go with that, and degradation of that tissue that's long-term lasting. Yeah.
Mm. And what are the long-term health implications of those things?
Yeah, well, potentially gut microflora imbalance lifelong and or scarring therein, just difficulty embodying in the physical.
Mm.
How old is this person, Morgan?
24?
I think she's a bit younger, Morgan. I think she's about 22 or 23.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
no, no.
early
She's
20s.
23 turning 24. Yeah.
Okay.
Her emotional maturity is amazingly, like 30. But I mean, I could tell you more about her. Maybe I'll wait.
Why did you ask about the age, Ursula?
No, but I'm just curious how long she has been dealing with this
Yeah.
lack of groundedness, and yeah, it must
Mm.
have been a very challenging start of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And in my view, her whole life will be challenging
Mm.
throughout her whole life. It's really. I mean, I don't know if there's a remedy for this. I don't know, but to me, this is an indication of a really very delicate physicality, and I suspect, if we look at this in terms of the nutrient assimilation, if we look at the line symbolically as a kind of functioning of the intestinal system, then this is clearly it's going to be hard for her to maintain her physical health and well-being because that capacity is just not present. Any other thoughts about the hand or the line particularly? I don't want to get distracted too much by other things, but
The thumb
Yeah, I
ball
guess.
seems quite large.
the thumb is quite large.
The thumb
Do
ball, that sort of
you-
that area.
Not really.
Appears,
Mm.
no?
No, not really. It's not. I'm not. I mean, I'm not that I can see from looking at the shade contrast on here. I wouldn't say that, Rachel. No. I mean, if you until you get a really developed eye, Rachel, you probably don't have enough experience to judge that from a print. You need to look at a lot of live. I would call that if I saw the live hand. But I mean, I've met this person, so I know that that's not true. So, um,
I mean, if anything, it almost looks like that thumb is low set. Um,
I
so
mean,
she reports a lifelong, recurrent, almost chronic and constant low-level illness physically.
yeah, Well,
And
that's
in like trying to teach her physical movement, a total intellectualization with an inability to embody.
yeah,
Just like, yeah, talk, talk, talk about what I'm experiencing in this effort to do belly dance, but actually no embodied experience in the earth.
yeah, yeah. I think both those 2 points are really important, Morgan. Thank you for that. One, so the Earth line shows how we are embodied or not. You don't have a major Earth line, you're not embodied. Two, lifelong low level ill health, because the major Earth line shows the level of vitality and health that we have, and she's got such a
Mm.
weak line. There's an absence of health and vitality, and that will be low underlying the whole, probably for her whole life. I mean, that's a very unfortunate beginning to life. Yeah, Ursula?
No, I was just thinking about her fingerprint and the radial peacock and the radial loop. It must just add to her sensitivity to her environment and make this even worse.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah, yeah, that
Mm.
doesn't help. But remember that the fingerprint patterns are psychological; they're not physical. So it's to do with how it affects her
Yeah,
mentally.
yeah, but
Yeah, more
her
than it's doing
psychological
physically.
sensitivity to the environment must also influence
Yeah,
the physical body.
yeah, yeah. Her saving grace is that thumb really stiff, Morgan, because it looks stiff.
Yeah, moderately stiff. Yeah, not
Yeah, I
not
mean,
too bendy.
yeah. I mean, it's not a particularly wide angled thumb. It's quite close in from the angle point of view, but it's got a strength to it, and it's got a um, uh, forcefulness to it. So I think that she's got a lot of willpower and determination, which is probably her saving grace.
Mm.
All right, cool. Anything else? I'm happy to just move on from that one, but anything else? Is that all right? Any last comments on that, Morgan?
Well, I don't know the significance of her gender identity, and it doesn't really show here, but it probably is a little significant. She has a boyfriend who used to be a girl and a girlfriend who used to be a boy, and she's on testosterone and you know, what's all that?
Social contagion.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, not necessarily with those worlds. I would think it's more to do with a quest for identity, born about by having the Palmer worlds. I think that's certainly a
Uh,
factor. I think, and then also
well,
you've
may,
got the radial
but
peacock's
wait,
eye as
wait. Let
well.
me let me interrupt. Let me interrupt. You could say that, I think, based on the radial aspect, right? Social contagion, based on the radial aspect of the peacock's eye and the radial loop, and certainly a history of people pleasing and a tendency that way, and taking in influence from the outside and being very influenced by whatever's around.
And her index
Yes.
finger also looks short.
I think it's longer than the fire finger.
Oh, really? Okay. Looks short.
Yeah, you can't judge fingers from a print really. So it's very
No,
dangerous to
no.
do that because they lean a little bit. I think from that just to tie in with what we were talking about before, I think the absence of the earth line and therefore a lack of clear identification with the physical being, the physical aspect of being, leads to an ambiguity about the relationship that she has with her body. I think that's a
Perfect.
generalized enough
Yeah.
statement
Yeah.
to say about that. Where she
Mm.
goes with that and where that leads to is obviously dependent upon, it may be dependent upon current situations and circumstances. But you've got a quest for identity when you've got a whirl in the water quadrant. You know you've got somebody who already feels a bit weird and isolated and different. So she will one part of her search in her life will be always be to explain why do I feel different, and that will also be shown by the radial peacock's eye on the index finger as well. So the kind of psychological sense of being different is will maybe conflated with um, the lack of embodiment and the lack of physical and nutritional assimilation. So they probably are
Mm.
related, but I would say that they're different things from the point of view of there are different parts of the hand that um, are producing these different manifestations. But as I was saying to somebody the other day, human beings are contradictions, and we all seek we all seek integrity. Even if we've got apparently opposing things, we try to find a way to to integrate them together. That is the nature of the, being a human being. We are homeostatic at a physical level and a psychological level and a spiritual level. And so that quest for sort of homeostatic balance or integration is what everyone tries to do. So if you see two apparently opposing things in a hand, how do you integrate them together? That's basically the challenge of a hand reader, and that's the challenge of that person's life, is to bring those two components together. So they will be brought together, whether or not they are actually related at all, actually, in that person's mind, because so there's a lack of awareness of physical body and a confusion about a sense of identity because of two different factors in the hand. And any individual will bring those two things together. So what she's exploring in terms of what you've described may be a product of the com confluence of those two particular impetuses in the hands. Because remember, what you're looking in the hand is you're looking at impetuses in the sense, this is a disposition that's producing behavior. We're not seeing anything particular. We got to see what the consequences are for having a certain kind of thing.
I was just going to also say she's also minor earth as well, so that's also no sort of sense of her individual sense of
Yeah.
identity.
Yeah.
But just also going on from what you're saying, like Morgan was saying that she intellectualizes everything. So you sort of said this. So she's not going to feel sexuality in her body. So it's like even her sexuality is going to be an intellectual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. A mind-based thing. Yeah. 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 Cool.
And
Thanks, Claire.
Yeah.
may I add some experience even from yesterday. I had a woman and she had a hole on the water area too. And I asked her what kind of freak things you are doing. And she smiled and she said that, I inspire my husband a very special way. And I've seen another woman with two of them on the both hands. And she asked me, why do I have them? And my family is laughing at me because they say that it must be six finger. And she was doing events, but very special one, like a wedding where everybody was dressed in the black or some really something very not typical.
Yeah, I think you can say that anyone who's got a whirl in their water quadrant is going to be very not typical. They just have to find something interesting and different to do to manifest their non-typicalness. So yeah, and it can be very creative having a whirl in that particular area of the hand, but it often is accompanied with mental health issues, depression, agoraphobia, claustrophobia, schizophrenia has been associated with this particular pattern. So it's not an easy pattern to have. The best way, the best advice you can give to people with a whirl in that area is to find some kind of creative outlet to express their individuality artistically, aesthetically, musically, to things to do with beauty and stuff, because it accentuates that area of the hand. All right, we're going to stop there for a minute because we should have a little break, and we'll be back again in a moment. All right.